Good morning, friends. Good morning, friends, and welcome to 64 Tech Talk of Pune Tech Forum. Today, we will be having a very interesting presentation by Mr. Nabaroon Goswami. We all see lightning during the monsoons, and we are all aware about its destruction value. And we read in the newspaper about the destructions happened, but never think of organizing any protection system for our home housing complex. A standard lightning arrestor is not the only solution. There are many precautions one has to take, and Mr. Goswami is going to take the efforts to explain us. He is the director of Ampere Protection Services. He will give his detailed introduction after I give him the mic. I already shared all his details. So I request you all to sit tight and be ready for the presentation. Without spending much time, I will request Mr. Nabaroon Goswami, Director Imperial Protections, to start his presentation. Over to you, sir. Mr. Goswami, can you hear me? Mr. Goswami, can you hear me? No, your audio is muted. Hello, can you hear? I can't hear audio. Muted now. एक minute. Please go ahead. Your audio is muted. Yeah, okay.
Good morning and namaste to everyone. And my name is Nabaroon Goswami, and I'm joining you from Greater Noida, which is a district just near New Delhi, at Delhi NCR. And I'm so happy that you have found out time on a Sunday to join. And all thanks to Vilas Ravadaji and his Tech Forum team that you invited me to listen on lightning protection, especially what are the difficulties of lightning protection for ham radio enthusiasts, for residential people. I hope up to now my audience is able to hear me.
You are perfectly audible. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. If you can kindly start the PPT, sir. I did not see the PPT. Is the PPT coming? Yes, sir.
Visible now?
Yes, it is visible, sir. If you may, I request you to please start the PPT.
Yeah, it has started. A minute.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you so much for inviting me for Tech Forum on a Sunday. And all of you are technical people who understand very well the hazards or the lightning resilience, and especially what some of the steps that the government is doing, and some of people like us in the private sector, what we are doing. Basically, safety for ham radio shack or any residential building or structure which is using electronics. So my namaste, and my name is Nabaroon Goswami, and I'm the director of a company called Ampere Protection Services LLP. My numbers and the contact numbers are all with Mr. Vilas Rabde. And I met him just a few 2 weeks back at Shanti Niketan, where we were talking about lightning. We were talking. It was the ham forum basically, and my topic was, of course, the lightning protection resilience and lightning protection safety. So it's not only the ham radio shack, which is an it's a communication device, but any kind of electronics that you are using. Lightning can travel even from the cables and from the panels into your television sets, into your laptops, into your mobiles. You can just Google, and you can look at various kinds of people having accidents with lightning. So in this short presentation, I would like to bring you through this small journey, and then maybe if you have any questions to ask me at the end, I will be very happy to answer you. Thank you so much for once again giving me this chance. Sir, can we do for the next slide, sir? Okay. Now here, uh, a very basic question, which of course everybody knows, but still, I think I thought I will start with the very basic. Regulatory laws, building codes approval, actually wherever your office is or your residential area is, residential tower or villa, building codes recommend to provide lightning protection system, and it has to be put. It lightning does not discriminate between a high-rise tower or even a small villa. So lightning is a natural phenomenon. It is a very dangerous phenomenon. A lot of research is still going on, even for arid areas. Example in Dubai or in Middle East, where they have a lot of now they have a lot of high-rise structures, but previously they had lightning strikes even on villas. Okay, so where it strikes, lightning is strikes known to strike even the ground level. I mean, anything like solar panel, if you have, which is an expensive equipment, you have a ham radio shack, you have an antenna, even your television, BTS, even that can attract lightning. And we have several cases in Delhi NCR where the Tata Sky antenna or the Airtel, where the BTS has been struck by lightning, and it is completely burned. And sometimes expensive televisions also, they get burned. So what type of structures need protection? Any area or structure that has significant number of human beings. Okay, the first and foremost is to save our life, human beings. And second is expensive machinery. This could be anything. It could be telecommunication. It could be any expensive gadgets that you have. Data centers in the commercial part. Now let me come to factories, data centers, telecom, radar, solar panels, even in museums, historical structures. You can see on the Gateway of India in Mumbai, you can see a lightning protection system being put on the top of the Gateway of India. Why? Because the government is interested to protect it from any lightning damages, and we want everybody to enjoy. A very common question: what if I don't put any lightning protection system? Okay, okay, fine. Maybe the lightning and thunder gods are pleased with you if you don't put any lightning protection system. But remember, there is no insurance damage, claimable, which is against the lightning protection system. So therefore, it is to be, the risk is yours, and all I can say is God bless you. Uh, some people have also said, I've met a lot of people in my last 24 years, but nobody else is putting. So why should I put my life? Well, as an engineering solution, our recommendation is please go for safety of life, safety of your assets, and this is the highest consideration. And lightning is actually one of the world's biggest reason of destruction. And sorry to add a strong line, do not copy an idiot. Lightning is actually kills as many people in India as road accidents, but it is not very glamorous. The government is also and the disaster authorities are now waking up to it. But road accidents, you will see posters, you will see videos, you will see film stars talking about road accidents. Wear your seat belts. Do not put your mobile when driving. Lot of things, but you'll be surprised to know lightning kills as many people as road accidents worldwide, but it is not that glamorous to talk about. Okay, now we come to where your residential areas or your developer. Now, what the most contractors are happy putting a simple rod or a rod around a building. I know that, which even you will be able to, with the the residential areas where you are staying, you should know that the lighting damage or the lost revenue or for a commercial entity, or the damage to your equipments due to a lightning strike, it is also considered a bad omen. In our Hindu mythology, we say that you know Indra god is not happy with you, and he uses his lightning is a vajra. The Greeks had Zeus, the Norwegians had Thor, the Chinese, even the Chinese civilization had a god for lightning and thunderstorms. So there's one hotel in business unit, yeah, that was building code standards. Please mention this group aware. Okay, building code standards. Okay, there are building code standards which are available with the government. Some of them are updated. Some of them are really not updated. That also is a fact with when you are dealing with building codes which are really run by and controlled by the government of India. The wing which controls it is called the BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standards. Unfortunately, we have written to the BIS to adopt a lot of new technologies which is available in Europe, in Americas, in Australia, Canada, elsewhere. They are using it, but somehow BIS engineers are still not very happy with those kind of structures. But a lot of private entities are using it. So finally, what I want to say is quality is expensive, but safety is priceless. So please do not, compromise on safety. That is priceless. Sir, may I request you to go for the next slide? Yes. Now, we all know that the lightning bolt is a sudden change in the electrical, potential difference, and there is a electrical current. There are waves which are caused, and these EMF, these frequencies may exactly match the frequencies on which you are connected. Now, that is the problem. You cannot control a natural phenomenon, and that can very well come in. And I've taken this picture from Google. It is really not my clip. You can just Google and see. I last night, in fact, I was going through Google, and I just typed in lightning damages against telecommunication and ham users and radio users, and I found thousands of and thousands of cases from Florida, Texas, which are the dry areas. I'm not even talking about coastal area. I'm talking of dry areas like Texas. Uh, they had thousands of articles where they have damages on such kind of thing. Of course, Vilasji is a very active ham user, and he can tell you a lot more. But lightning will not discriminate against any such kind of telecommunication or any kind of building. These are bursts of static, okay, and this static bursts are very, very dangerous for equipments. Equipments and statics don't mix very well, and this is these frequencies need to be safely attracted by a lightning protection system, and all we can do as of today is to ground them. By grounding, I mean earthing. These are the two British and the American terms. The Americans prefer the word phrase grounding. The British use the term as earthing. So both of them essentially mean the same. Lightning isn't so polite. It sprays electromagnetic waves all over the frequency spectrum. The result is interference with other radio signals trying to use the narrow ranges of frequencies. And the real storm has continual bursts of lightning. Now, this is very important. Many people mistake and say that, oh, there's only one spot of lightning that is happening. It can travel several kilometers. So, what you can see from a distance is basically something that has started, but there is no guarantee that it will not come towards your antenna or towards your residential area. uh, Mostly actually lightning is unseen. It happens cloud to cloud. Cloud to ground lightning, which is really the killer, are actually maybe hardly 5% or 10%. Cloud to cloud, we should thank nature for that, that 90% of the lightnings are cloud to cloud, C to C, and not C to ground, C to G. But this static that I'm sure a lot of you are ham users, or a lot of you are using in telecommunication equipment. You must be getting a lot of static and this background. This is where you know where to switch it off and come out. Okay, we'll talk in the next slide. Sir, if you can kindly put on the next slide. Okay, now many ham radio, this users are VHF, VHF radio antenna for local communication if they're involved in the e-commerce. So now, ideally, what you should have is an antenna which is, in a clear area with no obstruction or tall trees, so that you get the best performance from your, equipment or your time. Now, the downside, as is I'm mentioning that the antennas are a very juicy target for the lightning strike. That is the problem. I was speaking to a brigadier Jay in Shantiniketan, and he was telling me that a lot of such kind of strikes happen in the mountains where the troops are positioned. And what they do is they take all their equipments during thunderstorms inside a a maybe a protective shield environment. But that essentially does solves the problem of lightning, but it disrupts clear signal communication with at a very large distance. So now, what am I at risk of? This is something that I thought I should put. Most of you know about it, but let's see. Most of the time, we are endangered by the surges that the lightning creates in a word area. And how does the lightning surge enter an amateur radio station or any telecom equipment? It can, like I said, from your if it attacks your terrace, it by even your Tata Sky or your radio, antenna, your dish antenna or your TV, it can enter your television sets. And a lot of such cases have happened in Mumbai. It has even reached the courts, and the courts have given a compensation for affected people against the developers who did not put proper lighting protection system. Okay, how can a lightning surge enter the radio station? From the telephone line, PPC power line, feed line of our antenna, rotor switch, antenna control cables, even from the ground. Unfortunately, rare cases, very, very rare cases, but the above points are mostly the most common areas where lightning can come. So we must keep in mind that for a good lightning protection system, every connection of our station with the outside world must be protected. that unfortunately is the only solution available as of today worldwide, right from the United States to Japan. There's nothing else we can do with lightning right now. Maybe a lot of research is going on. Maybe we will have more resilient and more we will have equipments which will be able to suck out the voltage from the lightning and use it for our own purposes. But that's something in the future. So everything that enters our shack or our residential area where we are, using our telecom equipments must be protected. Most of the time it is not enough just to put a lightning arrestor on our antenna coax and very least disconnect the antennas. So I was, like I said, last evening I was going through a lot of American sites, and the first thing that struck me was that the Americans, when they talk about lightning protection systems, they are using these lightning protection plugs, which are available, not very expensive, but they're used in the coaxial cables and the T-link areas. The Americans are not really talking about the external lightning protection system, which I thought was something that they have missed out. Uh, but I will have to study a lot more about the American system, because in India we follow mostly the British system, because all of our systems are were governed by the British and the European what we system. Today in lightning protection system, I can tell you the French are the world's best equipment makers, and their code and their standards, which are still not yet adopted by the Indian BIS, but worldwide, and we are using a lot of it in India, in the private sector and as well as the government sector. uh, Despite the BIS not coming adopting it in totality, but parts of it has been adopted. So the dialogue is still on with the government of India to adopt it. What the French, the Spanish, the Italian, the British people are doing, they are really doing some very, very good technical work. Thank you, sir. Can we go for the next slide? Okay. A lot of people ask, is the installation very complicated? No, really, the installation is not really very complicated. In fact, once I have even taught people in Assam and Sikkim remote areas online on a video call. You need an external lightning air, which is called an air terminal, right? It has to be, again, like just like you put your telecom antennas, it has to be put in a clear area above at least 1.5 meters or 2 meters above your antenna, because when the lightning will come and get attracted to this EMF that is being created, it wants to get inside the first medium that it's the first come first serve basis. So if your lightning protection system is just above your antenna, it will be the first target, and that is what we want. We want the lightning protection system to attract the lightning and safely ground it. There are various calculations of radius of protection that we have on any building or any structure or any area. That's very a little bit complicated, but pre-calculated radius are always available, and I can always tell you. You need a mast or a pole on which, with the nut bolting, you need to put up the lightning protection system, and then you need to put up a copper cable, or you need to put a GI strip, or even today we are adopting aluminum, down conductors, which are 8 mm. So one of the groups that I'm associated with is called the Eurostar group, and they're using the aluminum down conductors along with for the air terminals. Then, of course, you need to earth. This lightning and surge needs to be safely sent to the earth. I always tell people that, there's no machine that can safely handle the surge except Dharti Mata. So Dharti Mata is the one who can handle this lightning and keep us safe. So there are various earthing materials that are available, which will be available with your local electrical companies. You can talk to them. But if you need more details, of course, I can send it to you. What kind of, what quality, what are the approved, dimensions, what are the approved sizes, what are the proper copper coating, because the problem with some of the, even in Delhi NCR, that we face, a lot of local distributors do not follow the approved materials. So this is try to cut cost by compromising the quality. That should not be your concern. I can tell you the right things. Okay, there are earth enhancing chemicals of 10 kgs, 20 kgs. You can always use it. Yes, this is the radius of protection. There are calculations that are available as per the site. And so there is an air terminal, there's a mask, there's down conductor, there's a strike counter that we use, and of course the earthing system. Right, sir? Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay. So very simple to understand what to do, the three steps of safety. One is your direct strike protection, which is right on the top. So as when you put your antennas for your clear signaling purposes, must also put a lightning protection unit, which will handle your direct strike. The next level, so these are three you can say three levels of security, three security guards that you have to install. One guy stands on the terrace, which is the direct lightning protection system. The next security guard is called the surge protection system, and these are typically put on your panels. It can even be put on your expensive radio equipment. And there are various coaxial lightning protection plugs. These are not lightning protection arresters. Lightning protection arresters are the one which are put on the direct strike protection. That is an arrestor. The surge protection systems are put inside the buildings along the systems. Those are the ones which have also are now more evolved and more developed today. A lot of European companies have come out with their products which are really very highly robust and very highly efficient. As in every field of life, in every product, the Chinese have also come up with a lot of equipment which are not really up to the mark, but they are very popular sometimes in Delhi NCR and in a lot of parts of the world because of their very, very ultra low cost price. But we must understand that low cost does not always means high quality. So the choice is yours. There is everything is available for you. So the first point, like I said, the first security guard that you must have is the direct strike protection, which is right on your terrace. The second security guard is your surge protection, which is inside. And finally, you need to connect all of them to the third and final earthing and bonding, which is very, very essential. Unless the earthing and bonding is proper, anything that you put or you know is at a huge risk of being destruction and being burned off, and you lose a lot of expensive equipment, and God forbid, human life also sometimes gets this. So this is, I'm talking about a residential area, and I'm not talking of open areas. That's not the subject for today. Right, sir? Can we go for the next slide, please? Thank you. A little bit of more technicalities of the surge protection systems, which are the which is the second security guard that I had talked to you about. The internal surges are very dangerous, and a lot of research has gone into it. And like I said before, again, the Europeans have taken a march even more. The research is even much more updated and more robust than the Americans or the Australians or anyone. And India, of course, is in a unique position to adopt all these technologies, and to make our own Indian system is the really the crying need of the hour. Internal surges are dangerous, destroys our expensive equipments within seconds, and many engineering solutions have failed to provide safety to our electronic systems. And that is both in the civilian as well as in the defense military. You know, and modern surge protection devices are designed to handle ground surges that are inevitable, and it cannot be wished away, unfortunately. Not protecting your electronics is the unsmart way of new age engineering. So we must be more smart, and like a lot of smart cities program the government is coming up with, and I'm very happy that they are putting a lot of emphasis on protection devices, because they understand that in the future all our housing or all your plumbing, electrical, all your circuits, everything will, even your gas pipelines will all be available at the touch of a button. Now all this involves electronics. So again, the more electronics you use, more is the danger of getting affected by surges. One of them is the lightning protection, which is an essential part. So I did interact with the Pune Smart City Commissioner as well, and he had very good views about it. I don't know about what they have implemented, but at least on paper they were pretty, very. They were thinking of implementing good solutions, even if it is from Europe and America. Okay, now the necessity of surge and lightning protection, we've just discussed it. Sources of surge, like I said, the sources of surge can be external. It can even travel from the transmission towers. It can even travel by signals, or even EMF, which is being created for your radio shacks. These are all at huge risk. So please understand this system, and surges caused by switching operations. Yes, there's really no end of ways and means of how lightning and such kind of dangerous voltages coming in our system. There are really many. We're still discovering it. It's an evolving science. So, like I was telling LRIC people also, that lightning is an evolving science, and still a lot of research and debate are still going on in the world, which is very good. Next slide, please. Okay, we have a standard called the IEC 62305, which is a Geneva-based standard, and the BIS has adopted almost all of it as the Indian standards, and we wanted them to work a little more harder, and we wrote them letters that what works in the ambient temperature and the geography of Europe may not work in the Indian context. That dialogue is still on. There are a couple of pages of IEC 62305 which do not work in the Indian conditions. We are a hot and humid climate. Out of 12 months, we only in North India we have severe cold, which is only 2.5 months. The rest of India, really has not much of cold weather, and people in South India do not even know what is woolens and heavy jackets. So that's the beauty of in a large diverse country like India. But IEC 62305 recommends which the good parts are definitely worth emulating. Surge protection devices, they have dwelled quite deep into this subject, and because it's a European body, IEC 62305, they have done a lot of research, which we are grateful for. They spend billions of dollars, which obviously a country like India cannot spend. We can only take up their and adopt their systems, what they have done. But a lot of it is for protection of housing, residential, and level. When you sweep up the level, it is when you put antennas and telecommunication systems on your buildings, or and you are an amateur radio, or you are a professional, or you are in a defense sector, you are exposed, your antennas are exposed to nature, and they are a prime contender of lightning strike, which is going to really, and if that happens, it is going to destroy a lot more than what you thought. So there are a lot of surge protection SPD devices that we import, and that we install and we supply. All that is available. uh, we can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. Now, typical installation for a flat roof or a concrete terrace is very well defined. find in the IEC 62305. What they say is that the conductors, the flat conductors, need to be clipped and clamped, and it has to be a kind of a shield has to be created on the terrace, because your terrace is the one which is going to be the first strike point. Now this diagram, you will see that it has one small tank, water tank, maybe it's a cooling tower that they have put. But modern terraces actually are a lot more dangerous, mainly because you will have a lot more telecommunication equipments, and even your TV dish antennas, all of that will be placed. You will have cooling towers. Of course, you have cooling towers. You even have your uh, many solar panels today, which are being installed on residential as well as commercial on the terrace, and it has to be put on the terrace naturally. Now, so therefore, this diagram that is being given by the IEC 62305 is actually outdated, and it does not take into account some of the more later developments which have taken place. You see, this is the problem with standard. We tend to adopt new things, and we tend to adopt things without waiting for the standards, and the standards have typically are always lagging behind. Once accident happens, then the committee is formed, and then the standards people come together and say, oh, what to do now. So but we as some of the vendors, and I'm a student of this subject, lightning protection systems, we look around the whole world, we are in touch, and we get the best systems irrespective of whether it is covered in the standards or not. So that, my dear friends, is very important for you to understand. Irrespective of whether the standards are covering or not, there are equipments and there are lightning protection systems which are available, which are working, and we can always do work on that. So external lighting protection system, there are various. Now you need to cover your entire terrace with 5 into 5 or 10 into 10, which is a class 2 protection. Class 3 protection goes for 15 into 15. I don't understand class 4. Why is it required 20 into 20? इससे अच्छा तो कुछ मत करो. So 20 by 20 meters, that's almost covering the entire terrace. So all I will say, please stick to class 1 and class 2 protection at most. Do not go to class 3. You need to put flats on your entire terrace, and it has to be above all your equipment. Now that is the problem. If the flat terrace is there, you can put easily, you can clip, clamp, drill all your things, and you can put, it's called a Faraday cage, named after the Faraday person who invented this cage, the Faraday's cage. But it looks ugly. A lot of architects I know have refused passing the Faraday cage for commercial buildings. For many, recently we were working on a project in Delhi's for Vietnam embassy. So they were making a new building for the Vietnam embassy, and the architect said very clearly, I do not want. I have glass facade, and we have beautiful hanging structures out there, which is a very typical of Far East, Vietnam, and Chinese, Korean, architecture. And he said that I will not allow you to put all these strips and all that across the structure. Sorry, that's not acceptable. Uh, so I told them, I said, look, well, this is what the standard says. So he said, do you have a solution for anything? I said, yes, we have a solution. So we went for an alternative system, and that does not involve so many strips and so many, 5 into 5 and 10 to 10 frankly. So there are alternatives available. Sir, next slide, please. I think I hope I'm not boring all of you, and you find it interesting. So this photograph is why I have put this photograph, is that lightning is not just a local area structure. We sometimes think that lightning only happens in a small 10 meter by 10 meter area. But this photograph taken, I don't know, maybe in the United States or maybe even in Australia, I don't know, does not look India, but it definitely shows a huge area. This is almost, I would say, around 60, 70, maybe 100 kilometers. And this must be taken by a drone or from a very tall tower, but it shows the extent of simultaneous lightning strikes happening over a huge area, 50, 60 kilometers maybe. So this does not mean that, so there are simultaneous strikes. So it is like a attack happening from the skies. So your home, apartment towers and villas, any exposed place can be hit by lightning simultaneously all across the city. Next slide, sir. I think we have a video. I'd like to show you, if you can play this video, sir, that arrow mark, and the volume should be there. I hope everybody can hear it. Yes, I think there's no, if the sound is not coming, I'm really apologize. I will send it. I'll send this video personally on the group. Right, sir. So this is the photograph of a lightning air terminal that I was talking to you about. We get this products from Europe, and like I said, that Europeans have really done a lot of research. They spent billions of dollars in this. The French, the Germans, Italians, Spanish, they have done a lot of research, even more than the Americans and the Canadians, I would say. But the standards followed worldwide are a little different. In the Americas, it's a little different. In the European context, it is different. In the Indian context, it should be different, because we are dealing with lightning protections, lightning, which is a product of humidity and water particles and charged particles in the air, which is a result of the kind of temperature and the geography that you are in. So what works maybe in the American context or the European context may not actually be totally be acceptable in the Indian context. So therefore, we need to modify just a little bit, And that is one of the reasons why we are requesting the BIS to adopt and make an Indian standard, which will incorporate the best of the Americas and the best of the Europeans, and make it as per our requirement. This is just a photograph from Energy Solutions, sponsored by the German group IGEF. They they were talking about lightning protection, lightning strikes destroying solar panels. So these are the best options right now in the world. Sir, can we move to the next slide, please? National Disaster Management Authority has, like I said, has now taken up these matters very seriously, and because of the number of deaths, and so they have released some posters. This is a poster from the NDMA. What will you do when lightning strikes? Some do's and don'ts. Of course, the safest way is, of course, to unplug all your equipment and just stay isolated from electrical panels. That's the advice from National Disaster Management Authority. Next slide, please, sir. I think now we are just ending it. Just one or two slides more. Okay, I just wanted to show you lightning strikes the US's tallest building, the One World Trade Center, and the video was viral, and it went right till their US Senate, where they talked about so not only they have danger from terrorism for tall world trade centers, but they can tackle terrorism maybe. But lightning is one terrorist that is not yet controllable, and it cannot really be controlled. So what you need to do is to put the systems, like these are two photographs I've shown you. These are from Delhi NCR. So right on top of the water tank, you need to ask your developer, you need to ask your people to install this system. It is put over a pole, the lightning protection system, and it is secured by way of masts and secure wires so that it does not topple over. And of course, like I said, you have to use a copper conductor or a GI strip, aluminum, and to ground it. And on the left hand side, you can see a copper rod with a U clamp. This is a very popular earthing material. This is almost 10 foot long, which is 3 meters in length. This is what it is. Well, I'm very sure it is always available at Pune. Okay, you're yet to talk about tall power distribution towers. Oh, tall tower distribution towers. Well, sir, that subject is again a very tall subject. Can you please give your question again? There was a question that came.
We will have separate Q&A session. Let's finish.
Okay. So I think I finished actually. This was the last slide, and the next slide is thank you so much. And I am trying to tell you in Marathi, आम्ही तुमचे खूप आभार मानू इच्छितो. Thank you and namaste. Please.
Now the session is open for question and answer. Thank you, Nabaroon, for lovely presentation and giving a lot of insight. So let's face the question and answers. Plus, identify yourself and then shoot out the question. Go ahead.
Can I ask? My name is Sanat Polatkar. So my question is that always we see the news that in India, people are standing below the tree when there is a lightning and big rain is there. And always there are news that people below the tree got burned or something. So what is the option? We should stand in the open space and always avoid this tree, or what is the to take care to protect yourself? What is the you will suggest for that?
Yes, sir. Very nice question, sir. Sanatji. Trees, wood basically is an insulator and does not conduct current, right? But when it is raining and it becomes wet, that is the time when it becomes dangerous and it will correct. So anybody who is touching the tree, standing under the tree, and if the lightning strikes on the tree, he or she will get the full jolt. Now it just happened in last month at Ghaziabad, which is a district just near Delhi. This poor laborer girl, along with her auntie and her aunt and mom, all three of them went under the tree, and the unfortunately part was that the lightning hit the tree. All three of them received, but the girl died. Unfortunately, she received a lot of burns, which was beyond medical help. I think the rest of them too. So what you can do is run under a concrete. There's no bunker available, so run under any kind of a concrete shed. Concrete is, lightning. There are only 0.5% chance of lightning penetrating a concrete. So run under a concrete. And if you do not have any concrete, and you have okay, which type of earthing is okay? I'm coming to it, sir. If you do not have any concrete, you need to close your feet together. Both of your feet should be together. It should not be apart, because the moment you have it is apart, the current will travel. There is a difference of potential, and the current will travel through your body, and you will be dead with 2 seconds. So put your feet together and crouch, like we used to, when our teachers used to say murgavan in the class. So you have to become a murga. You have to get down, put your feet together, and put your head down in an open area. This is taught to a lot of people in the defense, but unfortunately in our civilian life, I don't know why the government does not take such kind of initiatives in teaching this. Okay, another question was on earthing systems. What kind of earthing system you do? You said we have been doing a lot of salt and charcoal earthing, which is really outdated, and is not a very good solution. It can work temporarily if you're doing a temporary earthing, yes. But today the problem with the salt and charcoal is NaCl is highly corrosive, sodium chloride. So therefore, it is not a corrosion inhibitor. Rather, it accentuates the corrosion. So there are certain chemicals available now in the market, which if you put instead of salt and charcoal, it will slow down the corrosion. I'm not saying that completely it will be minus. It will slow down the corrosion. Therefore, the life of your earthing pit will be. So there are earthing kits available with a lot of vendors all around Pune, all over India. Go with good vendors who are doing using products which are internationally acceptable, which have good follow the internationally accepted norms and standards. Thank you. Any other questions, sir?
Yeah, one more question from my side. When you open the umbrella, there is a top open umbrella. There is a top sharp edge or something pointer is there up on the top of the umbrella. How much it is risky for attracting the lightning? It is my just layman question. I'm always I am asked myself.
I understand. Sir, any kind of sharp tip point metallic, one must make a differentiation between metallic object and non-metallic object. The umbrellas that I have been using are usually have a plastic top, so that is not going to attract lightning, the plastic tops. But if it is a metallic one, then there is a danger. Then there is a danger.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions? Any more queries?
Sir,
one more.
Yeah.
My name is Bedarkar. General interest to everybody. How would you advise solar panels be protected? Because that was one of the points that you had.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Vedarkarji, solar panels are in megawatt scale or on kilowatt scale, whatever it is. Lightning will not discriminate. Okay, whether you are a 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, or a 5 megawatt plant. Lightning,
Generally for households, for residential
house,
buildings.
5 kilowatt. If you have a very small setup, 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, and you are in an area which does not receive much thunderstorm, you can then go for a Franklin rod. A Franklin rod is just a copper rod or a steel rod with a 5 prongs on the top of it, which was used in a lot of time. That is very inexpensive. Only I think hardly 3,000 or 4,000 rupees. The whole setup will cost you for a smaller scale. But if you are in an area where there is a lot of thunderstorms and you have a where lightning is going to get affected, you may want to invest money in a proper lightning protection system, yeah, from a good branded company, which you can find online, or Vilasji can maybe can tell you if you I can tell you a few points about it. But the issue is that today, as I know, that a kilowatt costs you around something like around 50 to 55,000 rupees, right? So if you have a 10 kilowatt system on your like Vidarkarji you are talking about, so it should means costing around something like 5.5 lakhs to 6 lakhs, right? So if you have that kind of an asset and you really don't want to take chance, you should go for a lightning protection system, which should cost you not less than 30,000 to maybe 45,000 rupees.
Sir, one more question.
Yes.
See, we are an existing unit, so we already have the lightning protection done. So if we add solar panels into this, do we need enhanced? Do we have to enhance our lightning protection?
I had mentioned in one of my slides that once you have a flat roof and you put the lightning protection systems on it, that's scenario one. But today we are using our terraces for a lot more other things. We are not only solar panels, we are also using put up antennas and all kind of telecommunication equipment. Now, all of this stick out from the building. So your lightning protection system should be at least 1 meter to 1.5 meters, at least minimum. 2 meters is what the standard says. Okay, if you're not able to do it, at least 1 meter to karo. Something should be above. So, Vedarkarji, you must see that your lighting protection systems should be above your solar panels height by 1 meter. If that is there, you still have a chance of protection. If that is not there, then you need to redesign and buy new materials and make it. And please make the lightning protection air terminal as close to the solar panels.
One more, the issue was that lightning protection, as you said, has a couple of classes. Each of them defines the radius of around which, around the system which is protected.
Yes,
so with your 1 meter and this, I mean, the same norms apply for solar panels as for other ordinary systems, or is there something else, different norms?
Yeah, the class 1, 2, and 3, that 5 into 5, 10 into 10, that actually involves on the the horizontal layout of the your strips or your cables on the terrace. Class 1 and 2, when we are talking about the vertical air terminal, then there is a radius of protection that you're talking about. That comes only under ESC systems, early streamer emission system. Radius calculations is not for the conventional system as per IEC. If your terrace has an ESC system installed, then naturally it has to be much way above, at least 2 meters. It depends on your the size of your L into B, length into breadth of your terrace, how much of the protection that you want. I can send you the calculation. If you email me, I'll send you what sort of recommended calculations roughly that you can use.
Right. Thank you, sir. We'll come back to you separately. Thank you very
Sure,
much.
sir. Sure. Welcome.
Yeah, any more questions? Please shoot out. I think both the questions were quite interesting.
Yes.
So I think there is no more question. As per our tradition, we normally finish at 11 o'clock.
Yes,
So
sir.
we will take the last question.
Okay.
He's asking which type of earthing is the best for residential.
Okay. I think I got this question sometime just a couple of minutes back, and I said that salt and charcoal earthing was the one which we were doing earthing. Now the question is the type of electrodes. What the IS 3043, the earthing systems that India was following, that was talking about putting up a plate earthing with salt and charcoal. That is really not the today we are in 2023, and this is not really the technology that we should be following. We have moved beyond, much beyond that. So science has evolved. So today we have special chemicals which are used instead of salt and charcoal. So electrode, now what type of electrode you can use is, you can use a plate electrode, you can use a hollow pipe, you can use copper bonded rods. One of my slides, I had shown you a photograph of the copper bonded rods, right? And these are 10 foot or 3 meters in length, and which have a U clamp, which are again should be available with some of your vendors. That is put along with chemicals. Now these chemicals are corrosion inhibitors, right? You must understand these are inhibitors. They will slow down the effect of corrosion. If I take specifically of a region called Pune, Pune is a very heavy, high, rocky area. I have visited and given, we have done a few projects some time back, and we literally had to use machines and hilty machines to break the earthing, to make the earthing area and make the earthing. So this is a problem. This is a challenge. Rocks and rocky areas do not allow current to pass. But in the earthing part, we want the current to pass. If the current is not going, then it will get damaged. So therefore, one needs to be very careful when working in rocky areas, especially in an area like Pune. Have I answered your question, sir?
I think yes. So I must thank Mr. Goswami for this wonderful presentation today. Yeah, really, it is interesting, and you have opened up Pandora's box for the people who are not aware about the lightning and its hazardous effects. And a protection need to be implemented is a must, and there has to be audit by every city about the proper lightning protection. As you rightly said, there are more number of people killed due to lightning than road accident. So thanks a lot, friends. This was our 64th presentation. We'll be meeting after fortnight for another wonderful technical presentation